Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry, a little pause. I didn't realise whether it gone live or not. Hope you're all well on this lovely Sunday afternoon. I just watched the end of the playoff game. See our new manager Carrick getting warmed up. Right, just going to try and look at some of these early games. I was hoping we'd get a few goals in these 2 o'clock games, but the two that we've had goals in don't look great. Stade Rennais, which was super short anyway pre-kickoff. For over 2.5 goals as an example. And we've just had a goal at Fiorentina, which doesn't offer. Rennais was 1.35, or Rennes. Stade Rennais on Football 24. Rennes on there. We're going to look at the young boys game in the second half. Not interested in the Celta de Vigo game, but we'll look at the BSC young boys game. And we'll run these games. We'll keep an eye on that Fiorentina game. And as always, I'm just going to look at sort of off the cuff what we could do. Look at some trading methods as opposed to my ones that I have as preferred setup, which I've spoken about in numbers 1 to 3, where we have odds on over 2.5 and XGs greater than 2.76 if you're using the advanced data. I'm going to be leaving Holland alone. Abandoned at Groningen. Seems to be something that's getting a little bit out of hand over there in the Dutch Eredivisie. Games just being called off through crowd trouble. I will review that in the summer about whether I even do anything there next year. It's not a great league to bet in anyway. Obviously, a lot of goals in Holland. Someone told me once, as I've said many times. But the constant suspensions and abandonments has been abandoned now. I see games being abandoned, massive smoke flares on the pitch. The Groningen Ultras are something I didn't even know existed till about half hour ago. Not happy at getting relegated. Anyway, let's just say some hellos. Hello, Neil B. Nice win yesterday. See, lose gracefully. Thoroughly deserved. I didn't watch it, but I was listening on the radio. Absolutely battered us. Misa SCV, hi. Malcolm, hello. Jamie Power, hello. Pat Harvey, hello. Ian Finch, hello. Neil CC, Rod, Jaster, Brian, Matt, Lee, Tim, some regulars. Hello to you all. Steve Sandell, hello. Ian Bone, John B, hope you're well. Nitesh, you keep turning up with that badge, son. I'm going to fucking buy you. And Paul Wilson, lovely to see you. Celta de Vigo have just gone 1-1. Let me just see if that will change anything. Celta de Vigo. Funny enough, I use the old mixing up fluent Spanish. No interest in that game whatsoever. Other than they were on a streak of a couple of games without going over 1.5 goals at home. Something I've talked to you about looking at the prices, which I covered in this pod. Yes, gambler's fallacy, but prices increase as time goes on. I keep all that data, teams on streaks and this, that and the other. Jaster, hello Dylan, hi Steve. Jaster, one of your over 1.5s landed, good. Right, so let's get Fiorentina to 20 minutes. Let me just see the odds. Oh, maybe, let's have a look. We'll do. Typically, every time I do one of these, you think, oh, I get a load of goals at 2 o'clock. I thought we'll get a few games there, kick off, get some goals. 2 games in the first 20 minutes. Monza. Let's have a quick gander at that one. Feel free to ask any early questions if anybody's got anything. I'll deal with them as I'm doing all this. Get that Monza market up. Napoli have checked out, haven't they? Napoli won the league. They've checked out. Oh, Brentford. Let's hope they win as well next week, Brentford. Afternoon, Ike. It's insight into the old human psychology, and the names that people use on sites. Ike, he'll have his reasons for it. Right, where was I going? Brentford. Let's just have a quick look at that one. So all I'm doing at the minute is just running these games. I won't bore you by putting you up every time I run one. If we've got something to get involved in, I will put it up on the board. We can take these games into the second half. I just like wearing dresses at the weekend. I've known that. Knew that about you as soon as I met you. Interesting, really good pre-match XG numbers for West Ham. 3.176 game, 2.71 full-time game, and over 2.5, 2.16. Mainly because West Ham are shit, and nobody expects them to score any goals because they're useless. That's old gamer name. There we go. See, you come out. Your name on here should be Ralph. Reading the Telegram group, there seems to be a lot of negativity around the mindset between fixtures. Well, I don't think there's a lot of negativity. There's one bloke, and that will be being dealt with. Do not worry. I was, and I don't care if he's in here fucking fuming this morning, and that will be dealt with when I've got time to deal with it. There we go. I'll just share the screen here just because this is interesting when you've got get this. So Brentford West Ham is a full-time 6-game XG 3.17, season XG 2.71. Remember, this is home and away goals that the model's generated. So they're not numbers that we're plucking out of there. These are the goals that these teams in average compared to league average that these two teams are creating. But just interesting when you get high XG and then it ends up being over 2.5 on the, let me find the screen, over 2.5 on the market. So whilst the model's saying it, the market obviously thinks something different. I haven't seen any team news or anything. I don't know whether West Ham are protecting players for that old Cabbage Cup that they're playing in on Thursday nights or not. Might well be. But what it does do is it'll have a huge effect on sample sizes. That's what I wanted to show you if I can find the screen there. So if I pop that up, you'll see when we get these scenarios, let's just make that a bit bigger. You'll see that when you get that and it's odds, minimum odds of 2, it's 2.16 pre-kickoff, you only get 8 games. Because I go back to what I've said about our model, that our model is pretty accurate for prediction of goals, and when the market goes against the model, you'll just tend to find that you just don't get enough games to qualify. Hence, I'll look at them for the purpose of these videos, but I don't tend to run them. Whereas if we do max odds of 1.99, the same scenario, and click analyze in the Premier League, I mean, 8 games is ridiculous. You'll see 48. See, that's just a difference. So you now got there, you've got data that you can make some decisions on, but when you've only got 8 games, you just can't get involved in it. Right, let's get back, see if we can find anything else. Let's have a look. Stop that a minute. Get up the scores, have a look at what's happened. Right, young boys, we're going to have a look at in about 5 minutes in the second half. Brentford Stade Rennais was far too short. Right, let's just have a look at that Fiorentina game. Just have a look at you, my little beauty. Right, let's get some pre-match figures. Oh, Tony's not playing for West Ham and the change, yeah. So that's it. So obviously the market, and that's an area that I'm just, you hold your hands up. That's not for me, making decisions on how much players are worth to teams. I find it a really difficult thing to quantify, as in put a market price on it. For my own benefit, when we've had Kane out for Spurs, yeah, he's played great last couple of years, hasn't he? But we had 2 or 3 years where we were missing 8-10 games a season, and it didn't actually affect us at all. Well, now I think if he came out, it would we'd probably be in the bottom 6, but it's just a difficult thing to quantify. Again, the way my mind works, I'd almost want to take that on. That may be a game where once the price drifts out to that without numbers, I'd probably want to have a bit. Right, anyway, I'm going to run this Fiorentina. Let me just get some pre-match figures for you. Hold on a second before I do. Fiorentina Udinese. Okay. And that's sort of things, as I say, there's many ways to skin a cat. I very rarely look at team news because it doesn't mean anything to me, and I don't, watch games. There's people who feel they've got to watch games to trade, and they trade what they see. That definitely isn't for me. And there's other people who can quantify what a player missing means. Star Lizard probably one of the biggest exponents of that. Being but that's built into their models. Right, how many minutes are we here? Fiorentina, okay, and I'm just going to, there's been a goal in Poland, I'm just going to call that one up as well. And we'll talk you through them. What I'm trying to do is give you all sort of examples, things that you could look at. If you do sit down and trade, particularly using obviously the tools. Ralphie boy. Green, always wear green at the weekends. Had a good day yesterday, had a very good day trading on the run yesterday. I did all right. And a goal at Mjölby. Right. So let's focus on Fiorentina first. Let's just get some pre-match odds. So Fiorentina, I'll just quote you the numbers. It was 2.52 on the 6-game XG, 2.45 on the season XG. But it was odds on over 0.5 goals, 1.96 5 minutes pre-kickoff. It went 1-0 fairly early on. It went 1-0 in the 7th minute. Just going to run this one here quickly before I do that. So we've got that one price for Fiorentina. Right, odds on. Great, equal to 1.5. And I'm not massive in goals, goal times, but early goals, if you get goal in the first 10 minutes. It's worth looking. You can see what it does. Hold on a second. I'm mumbling to myself while I'm just running these sheets. I just want to arm myself with as much data as possible for you. This one up there, sorry. Delete that. Extra full stopping. We'll be there in a minute. The odds for, I'm just going to grab the odds for you. The odds for over 2.5 at Fiorentina are 1.78 currently. That's on about 30 minutes. What I fuck about here. 30 minutes, 1.78. Just remember that number. Now you can truly see how it works. I do this all the time. Remember numbers in my head. And again, I think they're in. Are they in the? They're in the same old West Ham Mickey Mouse Cup, aren't they? Right, I should be in a position now to share a sheet with you. Let's just fizz them over here. Okay. 60 mins at Young Boys. Right, we'll do this one and then we will fly there. Thank you, Steve. I like people like you who are very helpful. Share screen. Window. There. If you remember what I say it was, 1.77, 1.75. Should have typed it in the box, shouldn't I? Right, so let's just go here first. We've got the in-play sheet. So, as you know, I use 2.76. All I've done here is expelled that out, lower that to 2.5, 1.78. Thank you, Dylan. So this basically is the profile of the Italian Serie A game. So if you one way you can use these is just do the profile of the game that you're watching. Obviously, if you're trying to do loads at once, you won't be able to. But 30 minutes, it's 1-0 in Serie A. Odds on over 2.5. The XG was 2.5. So for me, I'd go to the nearest 2.25. So I do 2.25, 2.5. And I do 2.76 up. We've had 98 games, 91, 1.08 for over 1.5, 1.61 for over 2.5 on 30 minutes. I add on my 5% margin. There's people who use these sheets who just work off the raw numbers. So we've got 1.69. We've got 1.78 was what we had. So we've got value in that price, particularly compared to the 1.61. I've then run my second sheet, which is my bigger table, and here I've just put in exactly the same data. So Fiorentina are odds on, and I've talked about the 4 filters. Fiorentina odds on, over 2.5 is odds on. We've had a goal in the first 10 minutes, so I just want to see what happens when we get that scenario. And the 6-game match XG was over 2.5. I highlight the row of Serie A, and I can file along and see that. I'm more interested in these columns, what happens in these games. So there have been 90 games in Serie A. I hope you can see that 90 games where that exact scenario has played out. And 87 of them have had one more goal. But this is the key one. There's been 90 games here over 2.5, and 71 of them have had, we got 1.27. So having that goal in the first 10 minutes, having an odds on home favourite, strong indicators here. 71 winners. So only 19 games haven't had over 2 goals, and only 3 games haven't had another goal. So that would give me real great confidence there to trade that game. And I don't have to back over 2.5. I could back it and walk away, but we're already on 1.87. So this is the sort of game where I would go in 2 and above. So we're going to be getting to 35 to 40 minutes, 2.0 and above, 2.2, 2.4, something like that. going to give you all the way pretty much to the end of the game, 80, 85 minutes to trade on one goal, either get out for scratch, or if we get one early in the second half, be able to get a bit of profit. So that's just literally taking, whilst I've used my big sheet there to go into more detail, you can put all that info in here if you want to. You can still put the goal times in, you can put the home odds in, and it will just give you that narrowing down of that data on a match by match basis, that you can go, yep, I like that. I've got strong numbers behind it. Remember, I'm not saying there's going to be 2 goals. It's giving me great indicators that these games have another goal, and I could look to trade on that. So, particularly those guys who've got limited time, you can sit down for an hour and just go through games like that. We've only had a few games with goals in those 2 o'clock kickoffs, but you can find ones that you want to have a look at. Right, Young Boys is on 65. I have got the price for over 2.5 goals, 1.43. I'm going to type them in here, and then I can know what it is. 1.43 YB 2.5. If I type it in there, then I know what I'm doing. And over 3.5 is 3.25. Put those in there, and then I just need to change all this here. So I'm going to change all this. Mouse doesn't like this box. Change this. This is a league I don't like, I'll be honest. I'm not a massive Swiss Super League fan. You have ones that you don't like, and this is one. I'll be quite surprised if this qualifies. So now I've gone back to my defaults: 1.99, 2.76, 1-1, 65 minutes in the Swiss Super League. I'm going to click Analyze, click Yes. I've given you the 2 prices there, 1.4, 3.25. I'm looking for 2 things here. I'm looking for what are the price for another goal, and I'm also looking at this 80-minute figure. Do we get anything there that makes me excited? So we've got the 80 plus, so we have got 1.42, so it's almost bang on the number. So I would want personally 1.49. We've only got 1.43, and I was looking to see if this was odds on here. If this was odds on, that might interest me, but it's not. It's 2.31, 2.43. So the old Swiss can do one. Swiss cheese, holy sod off. So from all that, we will take these. Everton still 0-0. Come on, City, nick a little goal, please. So what we will do, we'll keep an eye on the Stuttgart game. I've got a 1.5 trade on that later anyway, but we'll keep an eye on that. We'll take these games into the second half. Man City. Right, Brian's just asked a question. Let's put that up. Fiorentina, would you ever consider another first half goal in that situation, or is it just the numbers better point to greater than 2? Yeah, I would play that over 2.5, Brian, just because it's giving me the whole, obviously the whole match. I'm in effect giving myself, we did 30 minutes. I'm giving myself certainly 50 minutes there to get another goal. You can play the first half 1.5. You will get some great odds on those bets, and then you can cover yourself going in the second half. So you can play them that way. And again, one of the things I've said, it's finding your games, what are you basing it on, and how are you going to trade it. And as long as you've got evidence and numbers to point out your decision making, you go, that's why I played that, not, oh, I'm fancied another goal and there might be one there and I've seen them play and they're all right. If you're giving yourself strong reasons, I've got absolutely no problem with, I put the 4 games in the chat room yesterday. One I played first half 1.5 and the other one there, and that, exactly as you say, the higher odds there do appeal. So you could have a small bet on over 1.5 first half goals at big prices, ends 0-0. You can cover all that in the second half. City have scored. Yeah, City scored. Yeah, aye. It's beautiful because they just keep getting that little glimmer of hope, don't they? They get that little glimmer of hope and then it's all snatched away. The old toys are taken away from them, haven't they? And they're going to end up like us, 38 games and 1 fuck. Oh, yeah, you get a few quid for the Champions League, but you pissed it all up before and we're pissing it up. Doesn't mean anything. We can't compete with these oil stations. There we go. Beautiful. Got that little one out. Right. So Fiorentina would be a game there. If you were using that sort of, I'm going to look at games individually rather than have a set thing. I'm going to have a look at that and I would drip that in. Yeah, one other thing. Oh, it's 2-0 City. Flipping dearie me. Let me have a guess. Erling Haaland. Q on. What price was I didn't even. Let's have a look. What price was that pre-kickoff? 1.69 over 2.5. Yeah. Absolute machine, aren't they? Goal at iBar. I just need to mark that on my sheet. That was one of them. Green. So Fiorentina game you could drip in. Young boys, nothing, not interested. No, and I think the one thing to take away from this is just sitting, being patient, running numbers. If nothing ties up and is strong enough, don't have a bet. That's the absolute bottom line. And don't get into that. Oh, I had a couple and they lost, so you go and chase the next one. Just got to really be clear. What are you running? Why are you running it? What are you doing it for? But there's nothing wrong with having an ad hoc sort of. I'm going to sit down, and that's what. But I would. As I said, when you showed that game that was over 2.0 Brentford West Ham, all you do when you run games like that is limit your sample sizes. And if you start betting on sample sizes of 7, 8, 9, I'm telling you, it's the road to the poorhouse. Monza Napoli 1-1, so we'll have a look at that one in the second half. I'll let that get to half time. We'll have a little look at that for it. We'll run a 2 ahead at half time. Oh no, it's 1-0 again. It's been chalked off. We'll bin that. Another well win yesterday, Dylan. I didn't see the Scottish scores. The old pointless league turned it off. Oh, it's suspended again. Obviously kicking off at Monza Napoli. Gone to VAR or whatever. Is it a goal? Isn't it a goal? They won, did they? Yeah, Toulouse kickoff is somebody let me know this earlier. Toulouse 3:30. My little just the 2-0 this time. You've probably just seen the second goal, have you? Probably just come through on your box. Oh, that iBar goal was chalked off, was it? Let's see. Give me a sec. So, right, in Poland, we'll have a look second half as well. So we'll run a couple at half time. Poland 1-1. We'll run the Napoli game at 1-0 half time. Brentford West Ham 2-0. See, there you go. See the old XG numbers firing in. You can stick your Ivan Toney up your arse. Have you been banned yet for punting? Always nice to see them hammers, them carpet baggers getting smashed. I hope Brentford beat us next week. I want us to lose to them, but get draw of Leeds, finish 9th, 8th, 9th. Levy out, Carrick in. Beautiful. Might make me renew my season ticket. Right, so we'll run that Pogan game. Did the old Bearders play yesterday, Brian? I didn't really pay any attention to results. I was trading, but I wasn't really following results. Did the old Bearders have a win yesterday, or are they not played yet? Are they later? Are they playing tomorrow? Who's later? Oh, it's the old Goons later, isn't it? Ivan's probably in it. That's brilliant. Quality. Yeah, I love you lot. See, this is why I like these things. For me, they're great because I like a little bit. And I did see the score now. I saw Bamford miss the penalty, then you scored a penalty, didn't you? And then I saw something about Sam moaning. Sam Allardyce. Ivan's probably in here. Brilliant. Absolute quality, son, that is. Wins the joke of the week, that one. FTS joke of the week. Right, so we will run. We'll run Brentford. We'll run Everton, but with it being Man City, the odds will reflect that. Stade Rennais was really low. Fiorentina, we've already talked about. We'll run the Monza game. We'll run the Pogan game. Hammarby was just over 2.0 for over 2.5, and Mjällby, but we'll run those. The Rennes game looks prime for over 3.5 and Moby even over 4.5 as a lay. Would you play this at 46 minutes or wait till 65? That, Dylan, will come down to a price thing. If obviously the longer you wait, if you're going to look on the lay side, you're going to lay bigger prices. If you've got the numbers now for that, my personally would be, I don't mind taking on the bigger prices and giving myself less time. Because obviously there's, as you run that at 65, the number of games that have 3 goals or another 4 goals are going to be next to 0. So I don't mind taking on the bigger price, and we'll do a session on that. If those big prices scare you and goal goes in and you're going to panic, then I would do the half time. Or Valencia have grabbed a late winner, but we will do a session perhaps next week. We'll look at the lay side. Perhaps do Saturday. I'll see what football's on and perhaps look at the lay side. It's a fantastic tool for laying if you don't mind taking on prices. You're not going to have a little cardiac arrest at, laying 6s, 7s, 8s. You just have to look at the strike rate. It's one of those things. If you're going to run it once or twice, lay, and one happens to go against you, and you're going to go, oh, fucking hell, that doesn't work. Then it's no. But if you commit to it, it's that's what Dylan. That's exactly. So Dylan, I'll just put this up because it's a really valuable question, and we'll actually run this game at half time just to talk through it. So Dylan's obviously got the tool. He's run the Rennes game. He's saying over 3.5, over 3.5, 4.5 look great as a lay. He's asked me when I would play it. I've just explained that, and then he's, that's exactly how I would play it personally. I'd wait to 65 minutes and go 2 ahead. I think we get so tuned. I mean, people have our bound, but we get so tuned into hunting for goals, and I get that the game's about goals and the joy of jumping up and down. But it is a low-scoring sport, and that should never be forgotten. Average of 2.7 goals a game worldwide. It's a low-scoring sport, and there's plenty of money to be made, despite what Greg's dad says, laying the other side. Right, so let's do some of these in order. Right, Stade Rennais have gone half time, so let's do that one. So we've got 1-0. I'll just load it, set it up, and then we'll run it. French Super League. Again, do me a favour, honestly. Right, so let's run that game. So 1-0, I'm going to load this up for you guys. Hold on a second. Present, we'll run through some of these. The joy of half time is we get 15 minutes to have a look at these. As I say, I don't touch 0-0, so the games like Montpellier, Stade, Elfsborg, I wouldn't touch. Stuttgart, I do like for over 1.5 goals coming up 20 minutes. But let's just run this. So we've set this up. 65 minutes I've put on at the minute. Let's change it to 46. I'm clicking the screen you're watching. Can't get used to this. Right, so we've got 46 minutes, 1-0. It's 1-0 to Stade Rennes. French League One, over 2.5 was 1 point, less than 1.99. Price of XG was greater than 2.76. My standard defaults. Let's just run that and have a look and see. As I say, normally we'd be looking to run this, the idea was to run it 4 goals, but we use the information however can suit us once we've got it on screen. So hide that. So we've got 56 games there. And you can see here only 55% have gone over 2.5. So let me just get that market there. 1.81. It is 1.61. So you could take that on if you wanted to. Again, if we went into sort of, for me to have value to back that, I'd want 1.9, 4.53, 11.76. You can lay over 2.5 currently at 1.63. Over 3.5, you can see here 4.53. You can lay 2.94. And if you really fancy it, over 4.5 is 6.8. Only 5 games, only 9% of games have had that. So these are sort of bets you could, if you wanted to set yourself up to use this sheet and just do almost like fixed odds betting, you could literally run these at half time and put it on and leave it and accept every now and then. Very few times you're going to get a kick in the teeth, but you're laying 6.8. Now, obviously, those prices will rise, but then when we get to 65 minutes and run that, and this is what Dylan was talking about, wait 65, run it again. There's tremendous value now. So if that game stays as it is, nothing's going to happen other than the chances of there being 2, 3, 4 goals is going to diminish, but the prices are going to increase, but they're still going to be to tremendous value compared against what you're going to get here. So that goes down to 40 games. So obviously, there's games that have had goals, but you're just getting into realms of, over 3.5, 15%, 1.45. So we'll just be able to run that at that time and see the situation. But that's personally how I would look at it. So that's really just walking through that game there that Dylan was talking about that way. But if you don't mind getting in at half time, and you could almost lay that 4.5 and let it ride. But again, if you're going to judge it on one result, then don't do that. You told me to lay there and it lost, and I lost 5 points. I'm never doing that again. All it comes down to what your plan is. Right, let's run some of these others. So the Brentford game we looked at, Young Boys game we looked at. Let's run Everton 0-2. Let's just have a look, but I'm almost certain that won't. So I'm going to go down. I'm going to put 46. I did think Old Dyche would keep Everton up, but I just don't know which one of them is going to go, do you? 1.99, 2.76. I just want to check all that. Everton and City, it was over 3 on both of them, 1.69. Click analyze, yes. I've just blown this up. I'm scrolling about a bit. I've blown it up so you can see all the numbers. And let's get that up. Man City, let's clear Young Boys out. Don't want that. Remove that. I'll leave those Rennes markets up, Dylan, as you've got me interested. Brentford, West Ham, we'll bin that off. Am I looking at Everton? Let me just get those markets up. So I run the tool while the tool's running, I go and grab the goal markets. That's just again having a process organised. So it's 2-0. I'd always grab 2, so I grab over 2.5 and over 3.5, so I can have a look. So Man City, Everton over 2.5 is 1.22. Over 3.5 is 2.04. We've only got 15 games, so that instantly for me would be a bin off. And the odds look about right anyway. 1.31, 1.97. So there's slight value on the 2 ahead there for Everton, Man City, but only 15 games instantly. Again, it's just, if you want to find a bet, you'll find a bet. All these things I'm going to keep saying in every session. 15 games, I'd want to see astonishing numbers here to even consider it. So not remotely interested. Right, what other ones we got? Let's have a look. We have got, so we've done Everton. We're not doing Montpellier 0-0s. I don't look at them. So the Montpellier game, Stade Brest game, they became to 0-0 half time. If they had a goal before 65 minutes, obviously that change. Have a look. I've run Rennes, Fiorentina we've talked about. So Monza 1-0 on Napoli. Let's have a look at that. So again, this is like if you were doing a timed session. So I've sat down, I've looked at the 2 o'clock kickoffs in the first half. Only thing that I found that interested me was Fiorentina. We've made a note of Stade Rennais, thanks to Dylan, as a potential lay opportunity. So we can file that one or play it now, whatever way you decide to play it. And now I'm just working through the rest of them at half time. So Monza is 1-0 up on Napoli, bearing in mind that Napoli have won the league. They've all been getting hammered, pissed, drinking their grappa or whatever it may be out there. A piston Dombele, I wouldn't want to see that. Like me, he's useless when he's sober. Right, it's the wrong league, isn't it? We want the old. Oh, there we go. We've got the old freezing Excel. Sooner we get this web-based, the better. As soon as that's because I'm running a lot of resources, obviously talking to you guys, it just doesn't like it. Right, Italian Serie A 1-0. We'll run it on 46 and have a look. I just better check the numbers for this game. Bear with me. Monza Napoli. So Monza Napoli over 2.5 was odds on. XG was 2.67, so I'm just going to put that to 2.51. So 201 to 2.25, 2.26 to 2.5, 2.51 to 2.75, 2.76 and above. So I've lowered it bracket in effect. Let's just have a look and see what happens in Serie A. If there's a bet here, I will be amazed. Or maybe. 91 games, so we've got good sample size, but you can see 2 ahead there, 2.33, 2.45 with my margin. It is 2.2, so again we'd be getting in more into the I'm just going to load up the 3.5 and have a look at that in a minute. So that 3.5 market, we'll be getting more into the territory of what I was talking about with Dylan. It's not huge value, but 3.5, 5.1, no, so it's about the same. You can lay 5.2 and we're going to be pretty much on the money. 503, yeah, so I wouldn't be getting involved in either of them. So that's the Monza game you can get in the bin. Pogan Schuzen. I need Graham Eakins, my Polish speaking man here. So Polish extra classa, go and get the markets. Over 2.5 is 1.2. Might click about Angel, that flashes. Nice. Go and get over under 3.5 as well. Right, so 1.93 and 1.2. 46, let's run it. And as I say, we'll run these again at 65. And have a look. Only 18 games. So again, for me, I mean, 16 of them have had another goal. 10 have had another 2 goals. 1.8, it's 1.93. So, you know, mine, again, it's going to be above my value figures. But for me, I want to see 20 games there. 1.89 and it's 1.93. So for me, I'd want to see 20 games. So we'll have a look at those again. In fact, that would be 2.76 as well. I'm just going to run that at 2.76. Check that. Make it even smaller. You see people, I'll take it down to 2.3 or 2.35 or 2.37. Only 14 games when it's 2.76, and the Pogon game was 3.23. So the more I put that XG up, the less numbers in that Polish league are going to qualify that score. So that for me is no. See what great discipline you've got over. I want to have a bet, governor. Hammerby was just over 2-0. Stuttgart 0-0. We'll leave that. Young Boys 1-1. See, good job we didn't get involved there. Just shows you. Over time, you watch these, the numbers play out, but it is a time over numbers sort of thing. You've just got to, if you're going to react to 2 or 3 of these, then you're just in the wrong game. So 1-0 at Fiorentina over 2.5. And the Rennes lay. And then we'll have a look at these games, see if anything happens in them in the first 15-20 minutes of the second half. Then I will leave you to your barbecues and whatever else you're doing on a Sunday. I am still babysitting. My friend has gone to Arsenal Brighton, so I've got his daughter. I've stuck her in front of Star Wars in the old TV room. Didn't even know the women's FA Cup final was on. I'll probably get called sexist now for saying that. Right, Renee has just kicked off. What was I doing? Oh, when the Spurs go marching in. Right, so all you do now is sit and wait 15-20 minutes, see if there's any goals going. Get ready, normally around 60 minutes, running 65. Boom. Feel free to ask anything if you like. Get rid of that Danish game. Yep, the Seagulls. Go on, Tony Bloom. Normally your quest just to type this in what's popped into my head here. Not massively au fait with the machinations of YouTube. That's you and me both, CG. But continue. But there must be a way to add metadata to describe assets, i.e. these videos using the tools they provide as a service provider. Yeah, maybe. That'll be one I'll have to get old Davey boy to look at. Because I'd actually do it all in StreamYard, and it just ultimately, you link it to YouTube and it automatically just leaves it up there, so you watch it through, does it all automatically, mine. But I will speak to Dave about our YouTube setup. It's not an area I go in. I will make myself a little note to mention that to Dave. Thank you. Yeah, all feedback. This is the sort of thing. Anything that we can do to make you, particularly this next couple of years, as we try and sort of get as much education out. All that stuff is helpful. Metadata, YouTube. It's ACG, like that. You can also tags to your assets for YouTube and websites. Okay. Take a picture of what you've written so then I know what I'm talking about. Organise this is high tech. Thank you. 1-1 in Switzerland. Don't like that league. Hate that league. I mean, you do just develop dislikes for things. Just do not like that league. Dave has my email. Thank you, CG. I'll get him to. I'll mention it to him, and I'm almost certain he will be in touch. Right, another 6 Brentford goals would be nice. Another couple for Man City, put that to bed. We don't want any goals at Stade Rennais in case Dylan's got involved, so we don't want any there. 1-0. We'd like to see a goal at Fiorentina. Monza, Pogan will even run Hammarby and Miel. Well, no, Miel will be 3-0. That'll be automatically, that'll be a small sample size. And a goal at Stuttgart in any time, sort of in the next 2-3 minutes would be nice. Arsenal Brighton, I put in the room because we'll be finished by then. I put in the other Telegram room. Good game for first half, 1.5 this afternoon. If it is 0-0 at half time, cover with over 1.5. We'll leave Pogan up. We'll leave Ren up. We'll just run that Ren game again on 65 minutes, just see what those numbers are, just so we can see what the lay prices are. I'd hazard that a lot of you would do better laying than you would backing using this if you've got a bit of balls about you. And by that I mean you probably get more opportunities laying. So we'll do that next week. We'll have a laying session next week. A lot of you probably haven't got laid for a long time, so we'll have a laying session next week. I'll get told off by Dave for, can we keep the videos clean here? Got told off for me pod the other day, the old Lionel Richie. I can't even remember what I said. Something about a bit of Lionel Richie, nice dinner and fill your boots. Can't talk like that anymore, can you? The world has gone nuts. So live table, Everton puts Everton a point above Leeds with 2 games to go. Leicester gone, aren't they? West Ham safe. Forest are going to stay up. They're going to beat Arsenal on the last day of the season. Well, it's next week. Is it next week? Wolves, Arsenal got last day. And then Everton, Leeds. See, Leeds have got us last day away from home. Genuinely wouldn't surprise me if they beat us. I'd like to see them gone just for a point in Allardyce, just to not have the Allardyce myth of him being a flipping legend. Sorry to any Leeds fans, nothing personal against the club, but I just won't be able to handle Sam Allardyce giving it the big one. Right, let's just load up Elfsborg. There's been a goal there. Let me just get the pre-match numbers. Season XG, 3.77 odds on. We'll have a look at Elfsborg. We'll run that on the season XG. They've gone 1-0. We'll give that a little bit longer. .55 minutes at Rennes, not a goal. ticking away, see? Even if you wanted to trade it, see, you'd have been in and out by now. Problem with if you're going to trade them is to not shit the bed then if you do get a goal and just take your loss on the losing ones. That's the... I did say I talked to people about laying over 3.5 sort of early and then trading out. And I gave up because people just shit the bed when a goal went in, but you just got to take the loss. It's exactly the same as they say in the horse racing. You know, at times you just got to take your red and move on. But if you've got a mental block about taking reds, I mean, I was reading Steve's room the other day, and works really hard, Steve. And you know, I've said it's not for me. I couldn't sit there. Just don't have the time to sit there day in day out and do the racing as well as football. To do what you're good at, but the just people talking of trades going in play all the time. I can't say I understand it because I don't, but it just obviously is a real thing for people that they can't just take that red pre-race, so they let it go and play, thinking they're going to get out of it in play, and it ends up being a catastrophic loss. I just do not understand it. I mean, it's sort of one of his, or pre-race trading in general, but one of his absolute golden rules is don't go in play, close your position and move on. Exactly the same with football. If you're going to trade and it goes against you, you've got the option, take the red and move on. Do what makes you comfortable and can keep you in the game. Yeah, sunken cost fallacy, exactly. Everton 0, Manchester City 3. Beautiful. But yeah, I just sort of read it, and the bloke goes, yeah, I get it, I'll just let the odd one go and play. And I just thought, Christ almighty, why when everybody, you know, I don't do race trading, but I know the one thing if you're going to do pre-race trading is don't take it in play. Everybody who's ever been any good at it has said it, be it Peter Webb, be it Steve, be it Matt Gibson, whoever, all of them say it. And it's just that doing it, I just find it staggering. And like I say, this here, you could lay these goals half-time trade out, but there will be games where a goal goes in 46, 47, 48 minutes. You've just got to close that trade when the market settles and move on. Your strike rate will be good enough if you give it enough games to do it. As long as you're playing with the numbers. You know, Dylan could have been in and out 5, 6, 7 times now. Monza 2, Napoli 0. Right, so we'll run that at 2-0. Napoli have gone on holiday. But I don't think there'll be anything in that game. But we'll run a couple of these in about 5-10 minutes. I've got Man City 0-3. That'll be a tiny sample size. Brentford we've dealt with. No goals still at Montpellier and Brest. Rennes 1-0. Fiorentina. I'm not getting to do much. 3 o'clock Saturday's better when I can do old Jeff Stelling pick, but not much going on. See, I could do that. He's packing up the end of the season, get me in. You have to get rid of that Merson though, because me and him would fall out. I'd be across the desk whacking him. Can't even speak properly. Pogan Shuzazin. Just going to run that on 65 just because I can dismiss that game if we've got a small sample size. Obviously, we bring in games now that were 1-0 or 0-1 at half time that would have a goal by 65 minutes as well, but we've still only got 11 games. So the Hogan game I can bin off out of it. Right, let's just have a look at that Napoli game. What I do is run these in advance just to give myself a, have they got any chance? It takes so short to run it. I love it. Absolutely brilliant. Ah, dear. Quality. Right, Monza. It wasn't 2.7, was it? Was it 2.5 on it? Monza, Napoli. 2.51. So I'm just going to knock that down. 2.51 games in Serie A that were odds on 2-0 at 65 minutes. Let's just get half a glimpse. Sorry, Dave. Yeah, I'll give it up. I think even he's grown tired of trying to stop me, Dylan. I think he's accepted it's going to. These smooth, streamlined, clean presentations are for about 10 years' time post me. So we've got 47 games in Serie A, 1.52 for over 2.5. We've got 1.37, and the match is on. You start to learn whether it's going to get there. The match is on 57. You've got absolutely no chance of that getting to 1.57. So we'll bin that off. Hogan we've dealt with. What was the game? Elfsborg. That was the one that interested me. 1-0. Sweden. So you see here, all we've done is focus on 2 o'clock kickoffs. We've not done anything else. We've just focused on those games that have kicked off at 2 o'clock and just fizzed through and seen, is there anything that would raise anything? I'm just going to check the pre-match setup for that. Elfsborg versus Varnamo. Pre-match was, so what I'll do, I'm just going to add in the home team here was odds on. So I'm going to add in there 1.99 just to show you a different angle. Over 2.5 was 1.99. 6-game XG was, didn't like that. Oh no, didn't home odds. That might up if I had that on. Put it in the right column. Didn't like that, did it? 6-game XG was only 2.25, so I'm going to delete that. I'm going to put in the full XG, which was over 3, so we'll put 3.01 in there. I'm thinking we're probably going to get a small sample size, but we'll have a look and see. And as I say, these 2 columns, for those of you who've got the tool, these 2 rows will be available to you sometime in the summer. We're adding some bits for you, and that will be one of them. I just got this as test, and I'm just testing it out. And those of you who've got it, that won't be paid for. That will be a natural upgrade for you. So we've got 18, 1 point. I see, I start to like this, see. And this is now where I could make a bet fit. See, I've done 3.01. The game was 3.77. I could lower that to 2.76. What's that going to do? It's going to give me more games in here. It's good numbers here for a goal after 80 minutes, I have to say, even for 18, really good numbers. Run about 43% goals after 80 minutes normally, 67 there. Well, actually putting it down, amazing. Putting it down has lowered the... Oh, that's because I put it in the wrong fucking row. Look at that. So what a give. I thought that was almost impossible. Live TV. Oh, we got 2.7665, 1-0. Yeah, maybe. Not really got the sample size again, see, but you have got good numbers for an 18th minute goal. But there, I was just looking at the odds on home team and there. For laying, would you use different pre-match XG ranges or just use the same and bet on dependent on prices? I would use the same. I mean, it's kind of the reverse where our model is lower numbers and doesn't predict goals. The matches will tend to reflect that, so you'd be taking on higher prices anyway. So, games like Dylan pointed out, they're absolutely perfect for it. So in effect, I do use the same. I wouldn't be looking at anything personally lower than 2.76. I certainly wouldn't be going into games with XG lower than 2.5 on the laying side, because you're just going to, go back to one of these I've talked about, the model and goals in games, and as our model goes up, the actual goals in games go up. So as the model goes down, the less goals there are in games, so the prices tend to reflect that. Right, let's clear some of that. A little meltdown. Little Excel meltdown again. the defaults. Right, Brentford 2, we've done that one. Still 1. Oh, right, let's have a look now. So it's 1-0 at Rennes. 3.5 is 7.4. Just put that in here a minute. .5 is 2.7. Hope if anybody found it, they'd never work it out. And if you're really brave, 4.5 is 30. Really fancied getting involved. Right, so 1-0 French League. French League 1. 1.99, 2.76, nothing else filled in. Analyze. Yeah, it's just gone 2-0. Fucking hell, as I'm running it. It is just gone 2-0, literally as I did that. There was 40 games there, so 3.5, 7, 21. Remember we had 30. What do we have? 3. Where's my prices? 2.53, 2.7, and 7.4. So the 3.5 wouldn't be. You could have laid 2 ahead, and obviously the goal's gone in. You'd be sweating yourself. But that's where, again, if you played that, you take the red and move on. But literally went in on 66 minutes. 0 at Stuttgart. Elche Atletico Madrid. That'd be low scoring. Almost. I haven't checked the numbers for a while. Those top 3 teams in Spain just laying over 1.5 goals and 2.5 goals. Those top 3 teams. Amazing when they say market's efficient. I've been caught up for about 8 years. Right, now that Fiorentina game, obviously we backed over 2.5, 60 minutes, still got a good 15 minutes of action before we'd need to panic. But what I would then do is lay, if it gets to about 85 minutes and we still haven't got a goal, I would lay the 1.5 really late on. Remember we had 90 games, 87 had had a goal. So I would lay the 1.5 then really late on to cover my 2.5 bet. And sometimes when you do that, you get double bubble. You get 2 goals late, and then you fill your boots. I had such a game yesterday in Bundesliga 2. Can't remember who it was. I want to say Bielefeld, but I just so many games that I look at, I can't even remember. Good ladies text me. Oh yeah. MB32. Still no Montpellier. And I don't tend to, just for me again, I don't tend to, once we get past 65 minutes, I don't tend to Kaiserslautern. That was it. There it was. That was the game. I knew there was a game somewhere that I had one yesterday. I don't tend to run it past 65 minutes. So once we get into 70, 75 minutes, I don't tend to run this. It's not for me. Suspended at Pogan, suspended at Monza. My spam still getting beat good. I've told you about the Brighton game, and I Arsenal Brighton first half 1.5. That's one of major interest for today. Even if you see, I don't let it, but the fact it's Gooners put me off. Rangers won 3-0 yesterday. Did they get a penalty, Darren? Was there a penalty in the goals? I've got an Aberdeen fan, one of the horse racing guys. He lives up near Inverness. He's a Spurs and Aberdeen fan, and he's like you. He hates Rangers. I'm talking to Darren now as if he say it. And he posted something this morning that it's over 30 years since Aberdeen had a penalty at Rangers. He's a great one for its full-on corruption. Now look at that, the old West Ham have scored. Brest have scored. Rennes have scored. Now we're getting into our Jeff Stelling. Hogan must be a penalty that's been suspended for a long time. Either that or it's crowd trouble, or they've just packed up and gone home. All the Betfair blokes on the Carsey. So Rennes, there's an example there. I mean, we didn't get in the 65 goal now at Hogan. That must have been a penalty. There's an example now of if it's turned against you. So when that second goal's gone in, you don't sit and, if another one, I'm going to do my brains. You manage that position, you trade it, you move on to the next game. You know, if you went in at half time, there was plenty of time there to manage that position. Ilfsburg. So even when I run that run this sheet in the off, here, that's what I'm looking for. On 65 minutes, I'm kind of looking for odds on when I want to play late goals. So they're the sort of games that interest me when I run it for 80 minutes. Again, we'll have a session on doing just those, but we'll see the football next week. We'll do laying because I think that's good. I think we'll actually do some bet examples and trade some. We'll do a little bit of everything. Actually put some entries and exits in the chat for people so that they watch it back, they've got them. But I do like to see this when I run it on 65. I like to see if I want to play late goals. I like to see odds on 80 minutes. Just wanted to check something there, actually. Oh, the West Ham goal's been chalked. It's beautiful. Being chalked off just when they thought they'd got one back. Just for their morale. I hope they get beat and then they go to AZ Alkmaar and get beat. I don't hide it. Right, anybody who had anything in to lose, that is kicking off in 2 minutes because that kick-off time looks like it changed. West Ham fans moaning it was a bad VAR decision, apparently. Beautiful if it upsets them. Villa fans moaning yesterday about Harry Kane diving. It was a dive from what I saw. I only saw it on Twitter. But they all do it. What crack. Just football fans all over it. Oh, Harry Kane. You got Ashley Young in your team, Villa fans. See, I hold my hands up and go, Harry Kane, it was a dive. Yeah, it's cheating. It is, but they all do it. The game's gone. Well, they didn't turn into the festival of another one chalked off 4-0 now. Rennes, see that goal. See how goals lead to goals. You get that one, and they've scored 3 in 8 minutes. Troy have packed up and gone home. They've done the Spurs v Newcastle. Had enough of that. It was Spurs v Newcastle 3 and 8 minutes as well, wasn't it? Haunts me to this day, Brian. I wake up in cold sweats. Right, well, guys, we haven't got much more. I'm not interested in Elche, Andorra, Rio Ave, and then Lugano. So I think I will leave you to it, let you go and enjoy your Sundays. We will do a session next week on laying. So we'll do a couple of hours on the Saturday afternoon to make sure we get some opportunities and try and enter some trades. CG, thank you for that. Read the metadata. Everybody else, thank you for coming up. Sorry, it's a bit quiet. There's just not much of value, but it's a good lesson in itself, just in sitting, being patient. As I say, the Fiorentina game, if you're in that, the only bet I would have then later on would be covering that bet with a 1.5 lay on. I'm talking sort of 85 minutes, so sort of 10-15 minutes time. And the as I said to you, and I put in the room, Arsenal 1.5 first half goals, cover it with 0.5 if it gets to 2.0x, and if it's 0-0 at half time, 1.5 onwards. Just worth playing with these with small stakes, just so you get used to the sort of mechanics of those trades. And I will, I'll post something. I haven't looked to see if there's midweek football. I might even do a midweek one, but we'll see. If not, I will definitely do one next Saturday. I will see you then. As always, thank you all for attending. Have a lovely weekend.